Welcome to the Calm Cockpit podcast, where today we're focusing on one of your most vital tools, your vision. Clear, sharp eyesight isn't just a medical requirement, it's essential for safety, precision, and peak performance. But did you know your eyes also play a role in managing stress and supporting rest?
We'll also explore how you can optimize your visual system to improve your flying. You'll learn simple, evidence-based practices to improve visual acuity, depth perception, and overall eye health. Plus, we'll share calming eye exercises you can use to wind down and support better sleep. Geeta, I can see that this is going to be a good one.
Now you're putting the pressure on. Here we go. The Calm Cockpit podcast starts now.
Onyx 1-2 Mike Oscar, runway 27, clear for takeoff.
Hello, everyone, and welcome again to today's episode. I am Geeta Brown, a midlife student pilot and licensed yoga and meditation educator and music educator with over 30 years of experience teaching high performers how to improve their lives without adding stress.
And I'm John Niehaus, corporate pilot and professional flight instructor.
And here we are talking about your eyes. So this is a topic that is near and dear to my heart, similar to one of the last episodes we did on music. And for today's episode, I'm just going to present. I'm going to sort of play the role of teacher. I have my teacher hat on, and John is just going to kind of be my peanut gallery. He has not really heard what I'm going to say. He's playing the role of you, dear listener, so he can ask questions and give comments along the way as we go through. I'm going to first present a little bit about why your vision is important. I should think that would be obvious, but maybe give you a little more depth into why your vision is important as a pilot, how it works, sort of how it was formed in utero. And then that really will lead us naturally into a discussion of vision and how it functions both in your eyes, in your visual cortex, and in your cerebral cortex, that thinking part of your brain. And then we're going to really bring those all together. Today is largely about the practices. I think I have 4 here for you for everyday health of your visual system that we're going to train together. We're going to do an exercise for visual acuity. Oh, if you're like me, north of 50 and have issues with seeing close and seeing far and not being able to do that switch, we're going to do an exercise for that. We're going to do another visual acuity exercise focusing on depth perception, which is really great for landing. It's one thing that's really helped me a lot to dial in about when to flare or when not to flare, more specifically. And we're going to do another visual practice designed to help you sort of unwind and de-stress. It's really great, especially if you get tension headaches or you have a lot of fatigue and eye strain, and you only have a short amount of time of crew rest to feel better. I'm just going to lead you through all these practices right here today and giving you sort of the facts about how they work as well. So it's a combo pack of lecture and practices. Hopefully by the end, your eyes are going to be feeling amazing. So John, I know nothing about you and your eyes. Like, do you wear contacts? Do you wear glasses? Like, what is your relationship to your eyes and your eyesight as a pilot?
Yeah, I mean, I am very blessed in the sense that for the most part, my vision's actually pretty good.
Great.
I can pass my vision test on my medical once a year, at least for the next 2 years before it goes to 6 months.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I do have one little thing, and according to my eye doctor, and I didn't even know this until college, actually, I went to the eye doctor and kind of said, hey, you know, it's weird. My left eye, I can't see in as good as my right eye. Maybe I do need some sort of correction. And it turns out that I should have been eye patched as a kid because I guess my left eye did not develop as well as my right eye. So it's not a degraded vision. It's nothing that's necessarily wrong with it. It's just kind of as good as it'll be. And they said, well, we can correct it a little bit. But unfortunately, because of just the nature of it being developed that way, there's not much we can do. And the reason why you haven't noticed it is because your right eye has compensated for your left eye your whole life. And you've just never known any difference. different. So it never really occurred to you outside of, closing your right eye and kind of trying to read with it. So yeah, I have a little bit of correction in my sunglasses, but I am not required to wear any kind of vision correcting devices for flying, at least not yet. So yes, I have a little bit of a vision deficiency, I suppose, but luckily, all things considered, it could be a lot worse.
I am so glad that you mentioned that about that you should have been eye patched as a kid, because it is something like the first 7 years of our life. That is the rich time for correcting any issues with vision. And since I work a lot with kids as a therapeutic yoga specialist that we'll get into in a bit, we're frequently working the eye that is quote unquote the lazy eye or the less developed eye for whatever reason. We're constantly doing eye exercises and specific protocols, some of which you'll learn today, to really stimulate not only the musculature of the eye, but also the visual cortex to really wake it up for the eye that's a little bit weaker. And I think you'll be in good hands today, because I've actually have some evidence from some ophthalmologists out at Stanford. I did not consult with them directly. This is sort of through some links that I'll provide in the show notes. But they say that even as adults, we can train the weaker eye to be stronger, or at least maintain its vision so it doesn't continue to degrade over time. They would actually argue against that notion that, oh, it's too late. Sorry. Too bad, so sad. What we know about the human body is that it responds when you provide adequate movement, adequate nutrition, and adequate rest. The body does respond to that. So this notion that you're just stuck with it, I would push back against that ophthalmologist a little bit. However, I'm not an ophthalmologist, so take what I know with a grain of salt. But maybe there's some opportunities, and it is for you here to improve. It is super normal for human beings to have one eye that's dominant over the other. It doesn't always correlate with your left-right dominance. My right side of my body is super strong. My left side is weaker. My right eye has much less strong close vision than my left eye does. And I've actually been working to correct that through the stuff I'm going to teach you today.
Well, needless to say, I asked the doctor, well, what if I just eat a lot of carrots or have some of those supplements that talk about vision and whatnot? And
right.
Does that work? And they said no. So
this is another one. I will put it in the show notes. There's a wonderful podcast on vision by Dr. Andrew Huberman, who I've mentioned him before. And he did a whole series on the senses, and his podcast on vision, he drills down a little bit at the end about supplementation and specific vitamins and nutrition for the eyes. Now, this is way beyond my scope of expertise, so I'll link people to his show and in his show notes where he gets into it. But there have been some peer-reviewed double-blind studies of lutein and vitamin A, which is when they talk about carrots, that's what they're talking about, the vitamin A, that are actually peer-reviewed in very high-end journals of ophthalmology that show actually the opposite, that those things can be very supportive to your vision and your eye health.
So we just need to Huber him.
I'm going to send everyone to Dr. Huberman's website and information on that. I'm not going to get into supplementation and food. It's way beyond my scope. So I'm going to kind of segue here a little bit into then why I feel like I can offer a little bit of information on this. And then I'll come back to how vision works. Then we'll get into the practices. So I have some expertise in this, but again, I'm somewhat limited as well. My initial foray into understanding that not only eye movements and eye exercises and vision health could be related to my productivity and my output began at Eastman School of Music when I was, a junior or a senior. They brought in someone for our performance enhancement seminars, and she did a whole portion on performance anxiety and performance stress reduction. And along with her, she brought an optometrist. And he did a whole presentation about the eyes and how musicians can use their eyes more effectively. And he gave us information on a study that I could not find that study, but I did find others. But this study basically tracked the eye movements of musicians who were really accomplished at sight reading. So this means you throw up a piece of music onto a stand for a pianist. They've never seen the music before, and they have to sight read it. And they are doing professional accompanying for a ballet company. So it's like high stakes. The ballerinas need the music at the right time, in the right rhythm, and you have to sight read music that you've never played before and do it accurately so they can have their rehearsals. They tracked this pianist's eye movements as they were sight reading this brand new to them music. Then they did the same tracking with someone who was decent enough to play the music, but didn't have the years of experience that the professional did. So more like an intermediate student's eye movements. And what they found was the professional pianist, the one who was really great at not dropping a note and just keeping everything in time, their eyes moved smoothly and steadily. And they were almost always 2 to 3 measures ahead of where their body was playing. So their eyes were tracking smoothly and they were tracking ahead. And they were also tracking vertically and horizontally with equal smoothness. The more intermediate students who were less good at the sight reading, their eyes moved forward and backwards erratically. They would move ahead of where they were playing. Then if they made a mistake, their eyes would go back. Then their eyes would skip ahead. Then their eyes would go up and down. Their eyes were all over the place, and their performing was a bit more all over the place. And this was sort of like an aha moment for me, where this doctor said, your eyes are actually your brain exposed to the world. It's like when you're a baby, you have some of your brain cells get like popped out into like your orbital socket, and then your eyes develop. And through the optic nerve, they're connected directly to the brain. So when you're looking at people through the eyes, you're looking directly at their brain. Very different than all of our senses. Like in our last one about hearing, we talked about there's the hearing comes through the air, there's an eardrum in the way, then there's the cochlea, then your brain interprets that hearing signals. Totally different with the vision system. The vision, your brain is directly connected to the outside world. There's nothing in the way. So, that got me thinking as a musician, well, if you can train your eyes to move smoothly and how you want them to, you're training your brain how to interpret material smoothly and how you want it to. And we were given handouts then to train our eye movements. Pieces of paper, because we're musicians, we needed to read, for tracking around a star, tracking horizontally, tracking vertically. That was my first introduction to eye training. Could be brain training, could be training for cognition and doing it quickly. Leading on from there, then I got into becoming a therapeutic yoga instructor. And the tradition I come from, we have a long history, sort of my yoga, I guess he'd be my great-grandfather was also a medical doctor. And then my yoga grandfather did a lot of the therapeutic yoga modalities. And both of my primary teachers in yoga do a lot with the therapeutic yoga community. So I've worked with children with the quote unquote lazy eye who have the eye patch, and we teach them eye exercises to stimulate that good eye to develop. I've worked with typical adults to help them with training in depth perception, visual acuity, and to match this with their cognition and their perception of the world around them. So all of that combined with the eye exercises I was trained to do in every single yoga class, we do eye exercises, and tracking my own changes over the last 30 years, that's my sort of practical experience for what I'm offering to folks today. It's limited, but it's robust enough that I think it can be helpful for pilots. And of course, I've applied a lot of this to my student pilot training because I've learned that like seeing and spotting traffic is like super vital when you're VFR. So we both need our physical ability of the eyes to see the world around us, but we also need the visual cortex, that part of our brain that processes the information, to be really healthy. Just the complexity of our job, people. Think about what we're asked to do all the time. We want our eyes to be healthy. Also, from a mental health perspective, our visual systems play a huge role in keeping our mental health going. So if we're looking at all those intermediate steps you can do, where you can keep yourself in a holistically just feeling better without needing to go the route of seeking outside help, which can lead to other problems, as we know, with the FAA and things, our visual system plays a key role in our mental health. And there's a couple ways it does this. Number one is the sleep and wake cycles are greatly regulated by these special cells in the retina that respond to the light. So when we go outside in the morning, actually outside, not through a window, outside, and you spend like 2 to 10 minutes in natural daylight at the beginning of the day, and you do the same thing at the end of the day, 2 to 10 minutes outside in natural light. Sun does not have to be out. It's just natural light. This plays a really crucial role in regulating your mood and your alertness. So these cells respond to that natural light. Oh, they have a fancy name. I wrote it down. I'm not going to remember it. It's, specialized melanopsin retinal ganglion cells. Wow, isn't that fancy? Anywho, they signal to the brain whether it's early in the day or late in the day. And then it sends off this metabolic and neurological cascade of hormones that impact your sleepiness, your wakefulness, your mood, your blood sugar, your dopamine, which is that feel-good hormone, and even your pain threshold, which I find absolutely fascinating. I don't know if you've ever noticed, like when you're really tired and if you have like, I don't know, like knee pain or something you've been dealing with for a while and you're really tired, it seems worse. This has everything is interrelated in the body. So really, really important if you want to feel good, very simple measures. And I do this, especially when I travel across time zones, get outside into natural light. A couple of minutes, your body knows what to do with that information. And it sends a cascade. You don't even have to think about it to help your mental health feel better. Our visual system, how else does it work to help our sense of feeling good? Our visual system has this really cool thing it does where when we look out at a horizon as far as we can see, think of the ocean, or if you're at the mountains and you're on the top or higher up in the mountains and you can look way out, our visual system is designed that when we look way, way, way across the horizon as far as we can see, it sends a cascade of metabolic reactions, which signals our body to begin to relax and find more ease. Our heart rate goes down, blood pressure goes down, and dopamine goes up when we have this long, unobstructed view and we spend 2 to 5 minutes gazing out as far as we can see. It's not just a placebo. It's not just, oh, it's pretty. It's actually our physical system is wired to produce basically feel good chemicals and reactions, which I think about like when you're up on cruise and you get to look out and just have a moment or two to kind of go, wow, that's actually doing a lot for your physical system. How else does it impact your mental health? Things, very simple things that we're going to play with these in the practices in a little bit. Looking up is associated with increased wakefulness. So they used to teach us this trick, like when we were studying, they were like, look up for 2 minutes and keep your eyes looking up, and that stimulates wakefulness. Same thing, looking down stimulates feeling more sleepy. So if you're looking down at your phone before bed, but you're looking at a very stimulating screen, not just you, I did this last night, working opposite of what my body wants. I'm signaling my body I'm looking down, moving towards a more restful state. I'm not scanning the outside world for danger. I'm just looking down. Everything is fine. But then I'm looking at a screen that's full of all kinds of information. I'm actually working against my biology. Contrast that with looking down and reading a book where you're single tracking a single line of text in a very smooth, even pace. That signals the body, yo, time to chill, time to relax. So vision isn't just about seeing the world. It's also about regulating all these metabolic and neurochemical processes in your body that have to do with sleeping and waking, feeling alert, feeling more sleepy. And it goes way beyond eyesight. Also, these visual cues help us understand like the passage of time. It gets way into neurobiology. It goes a little beyond the scope of today, but it helps us make sense of who we are, where we are, and the passage of time. I think in our brain, it's something like 40 to 50% of our brain is devoted to like our visual system. So it is linked into who we are, how we function, and how we feel.
So it's interesting when I go to flight training and you're in a sim center for anywhere from a week if it's recurrent or a month if you're on an initial type ride for a new airplane. These buildings, they have front windows and that's about it. So you are spending a month in a dark classroom in a simulator, again, no windows, and it becomes a lot. And I would try, especially during lunchtime, to kind of do what you're talking about, where I would go outside. If I could look up at the sun or somewhere close to the sun without hurting myself,
Yes.
It was just a matter of like, I've got to get it in, and however long I can stand it, I need to do this. And it does help. It improves your mood, it improves your focus, it improves your wakefulness. So it's interesting to see that that there's actually some reason for doing this.
There absolutely is. See how wise you are? Just natural wisdom. Listen, it's wired into our biology, right? The body knows what it needs, and sometimes it will prod us in ways that are subconscious to be like, that's going to feel good, so do it now. And what is wild to me is that your brain takes these electrical signals and then interpolates and extrapolates like what's happening. The brain is making, this is crucial when we do the eye exercises. Think about this. Your brain is constantly making assumptions and guesses from a pattern of electricity that reaches your brain about what the outside world is. So think about bias. Think about if they say, do you have traffic in sight? You see a plane. You're like, yeah, we have traffic in sight. Are you sure that's the one that ATC was saying? Do you have them in sight? Right? Your brain is interpreting electrical signals and then making assumptions. And then your cerebral cortex, the thinking part of your brain that sits in the front, is making even more assumptions about it. So this is where training the eyes and training them as they are part of your thinking system can lead to greater visual acuity. It's not just the eyes themselves, it's the brain processing that happens after that light signal reaches that is really vital. And that's why I push back from the gentleman who said, oh, John, you're just stuck with it. No, you're not. You can create new neural pathways in your brain if you stimulate it enough. That would be my argument. So we also figure out when you're looking outside and you're on that break, your brain is not actually necessarily, quote unquote, seeing like in 3D. It's getting like this flat 2D electrochemical information. So things like how big objects are, it has to constantly accommodate for that and make sense of your environment. It also has to do things like motion parallax, which is a thing like, okay, say you're cruising up at 30,000 and you look down at trees. You know how it looks like they're moving super slow? But if another plane goes by, it seems like it's moving super fast. Like that's motion parallax, which basically means that like objects that are super, super far away seem to move really slowly. Things that are closer to us seem to move faster. And our brain like interprets that to figure out how far we are from objects. Again, I'm thinking of landings. Can you tell I'm a student pilot? Like we're coming into land. How far away is that windsock? How far away am I to the flare? We're looking at the trees on the side. We're looking at the pavement on the runway. We're taking in all of those visual cues about how fast or how slow things are moving to figure out, is that close or is it far? And this gets woven into how we think, how we perceive, how we move the flight controls, and how we execute our command authority over that aircraft into the world. So this is all why I'm like, do these exercises that I'm about to teach you to not only keep your physical light gathering information of your eyes healthy as you possibly can, but that you can also keep your visual cortex, which is that initial processing station, super robust, like just the most robust world map you could possibly have. And then your cerebral cortex, your thinking part of your brain, to constantly interpret these with more clarity and acuity. And so you can direct them using your will rather than being bossed around by what you think you're seeing. So one little brain experiment before we get to the practices is to think about something like, we'll use I think it's a grasshopper. They have 3 eyes. Have you ever tried to catch a grasshopper?
No, but I've watched my son do it multiple times.
Has he been successful?
He has.
No way.
He chases after him for hours.
He's like, is it Miyagi from Karate Kid who could catch the fly and the chopsticks? He's like that. He's like sensei level.
It's sheer determination of will, really.
I love it. Because grasshoppers are like super hard to catch. I do understand we do have some listeners from very, very far countries. They may not know what a grasshopper is. It's an insect that lives in the grass. And these things can leap up like 2 feet high and 2 feet away as quick as you can snap your fingers. If I try to catch one, they flee the other way. So to a grasshopper, think about their visual system. This is just a little thought experiment. Bear with me, people. It's my yoga teacher show. The grasshopper has 3 eyes. which I think is just cool. They have three. They can only see light and dark. They don't see colors. They don't see all this. They just see, is it light or is it dark? But they can really, really sense movement way better than we can. That's why for someone like me, it's almost impossible to catch them, because as soon as you get near them, they're going to go the other way. So whose interpretation of the world is more accurate? Mine or the grasshoppers? Who is seeing the world as it actually is? Or think about a dog. They don't have some of the photo color receptors that we do. I forget what they're missing, but they call them colorblind. They're not really, but they see a lot more grayed out world than we do. They don't see all the colors we do. Are they seeing reality or are we seeing reality? Do you have an answer, John? Who's seeing things accurately? What's accurate? What's true? What's real out there?
I mean, it's all perspective, isn't it?
Perspective, physical system combined with visual cortex, combined with the thinking mind to interpret that data. So I'm just saying this because I think we can often get a lot of bias about what we see in the world and we think that it's true. But when we understand that different creatures see differently, different people, John, you probably see differently than I do. Your eyes, you said you have a relative imbalance in your eyes. If someone questions what you're seeing in the cockpit, take a moment to stop and really analyze that, not with a knee-jerk reaction that you're convinced that what you're seeing is the right thing. It might not be. They might be seeing things differently, and that's can actually be really useful and helpful. Just an idea.
Well, and that lends itself to the whole idea of overreacting or reacting too quickly is never a good thing to begin with. So
absolutely,
just add that to your checklist of how to react to something in, a delay.
But I think that pausing and really interpreting is really important because, again, we tend to think that what we're seeing is reality. And as you've learned right here, if you've learned anything so far, what you're seeing is just an interpretation of electrical signals. And pausing and verifying with yourself and with other people, if possible, can be a crucial ingredient to safety in the cockpit. John's nodding. Woohoo! Okay.
It's true.
Shall we practice some eye stuff?
Let's practice some eye stuff.
Okay. So I learned these first. What I'm going to teach you right now is one that I do for everyday health of my visual system. Oh my gosh. I learned these many years ago when I started entering the integral yoga tradition. We do eye exercises as part of every single hatha yoga practice. Hatha yoga is just the physical practice of yoga. And I am very happy that I started doing these. I guess I was in my late 20s. Now that I'm in my 50s, because I've done them pretty much every day for all these decades, as my eyes changed and I got older, I was able to notice those changes and implement what I could do to stem the tide a little bit. I mean, I need reading glasses, not going to get away from that, but it has helped me to keep my visual acuity much higher and also my awareness of how my vision has changed much higher, because I've been doing them since I'm younger. So if you're someone young who is listening, please start doing these everyday health of visual system exercises every single day. Even if you just do a piece of what I'm going to teach you and you do a 60-second thing, it will give you such a strong visual cortex that will serve you later. So if you do lose some of the physical ability to process the light signals as they come in through the lens, you'll have such a robust system already that you'll be able to accommodate for that. Before we do these, I forgot to give this little bit. If you just think about it for a moment, you have 9 pairs of muscles that help move the eyes. And the lens of your eye, which is, where the light comes through and it focuses it onto the retina, which then sends it into the optic nerve into the brain, that lens flattens or thickens. So I think I have this correct. If not, we'll correct it in the show notes, that when you're looking far away, that the lens is pretty flat. And that when you focus up close, that lens gathers in closer. I think I have that correct. So we need the musculature and physical system to be really, really healthy. So your lens can continue to do this process of that near and far vision accommodation and contracting and expanding. So if you're young, start doing these. If you're older, start doing them and see what you get. So for the everyday health of visual system, we're going to do 4 things. we're going to move the eyes. This is going to stimulate the muscles to be stronger. It's going to stimulate your visual cortex to produce and pump more neurons. We're going to pump your neurons. Woohoo! We're going to also help lubricate the eyes. Your eyes use tears, but they also use oil to kind of lubricate the eye itself. And while that's not going to help vision, it can be very, very helpful with eye strain. And if you've ever suffered with dry eyes, you know how important those tears are. So we're going to get your eyes lubricated. We're also going to increase the blood supply, which is crucial. Your eyes are a big part of your cardiovascular system. So we're going to increase that blood supply to the eyes, which is always a good thing. Your eye cells will love that. And then we're going to induce that rest response at the end, which is where everything gets integrated in and it helps produce that feel-good feeling of de-stressing. So I'm going to give you the long version of this everyday health of the visual system. I'm going to do the whole freaking thing. This is the one I do when I have a bit more time. When you don't have time, you just do the pieces of it that feel good. So adjust, adapt, and accommodate for yourself. Ready, Freddie?
Let's lube our eyes.
So the very first thing you're going to do, you can do the sitting, you can do it standing, you can do it laying down, does not matter. But very first thing you want to do is just get your physical body kind of well established. I'm going to teach it from a seated position because that just feels good. So you want your feet to be well established on the floor. Get your feet well grounded. Have your hips well grounded so you can feel both hips resting evenly. Little length to the spine, maybe feeling the vertebrae can kind of stack one on top of the other. Maybe there's a little space. Hey, maybe the shoulders go up and back. You just kind of prepare yourself there. Let your arms relax, your hands relax. The neck and the head, sometimes I turn my head side to side a little bit and just kind of settle in. Let the top of the head even kind of like relax and open up a little bit. Just kind of have a sit and maybe one slow, deep breath in and then a long exhale. Just signaling to the body that for the next few minutes, you're going to focus on your eyes and giving them a really nice movement and massage, improving the health of the visual system. Then you're just going to take whichever hand you like, your thumb and your forefinger are going to come right on those spots in the center of the eyes where people rub when they have a headache, right on those tear ducts, and you just hold them right there. And for all of these, it's really nice if there's a tendency to drop the head forward towards the hand. And for right now, we're going to keep everything really well aligned. So if your head's dropped forward, keep it into alignment with your spine. And then gently, you're just going to bring and you're going to pinch the thumb and forefinger together. It's like you're gathering the skin together at the center of the nose, and then you release. And then it's a pinch and gather and release. And we're going to do it to a count of like pinch, release, 3, 4. Pinch, release, 3, 4. And I usually count like 3, 2, 3, 4. We're going to go to 9. 4, 2, 3, 4. 5, release, pinch, release. 6, release, pinch, release. 7, 2, 3, 4, gentle but firm. 8, 2, 3, 4, 9, 2, 3, 4. Release your hand. You're going to close the eyes. Open. Slow blink to lubricate. Close. Open. And then close the eyes and one slow, deep breath in and out. Now we're going to bring even more blood to all of those lovely cells. You're going to take your thumb and forefinger again, but this time in your left and your right hand. You're going to start with them on the center spot of the eye. We will put these on YouTube so you can see the video. If you're trying to follow on the podcast and it's difficult, we'll put these on YouTube. So find it there. You start them in the center near the tear duct of the eye. We're going to massage all along the orbit of the eye. So now you open, your forefinger is going to go under the eyebrow. And your thumb is going to go under the lower rim of the eye. And you just trace that eye orbit all the way out to the temple. Bink. Let your hands relax while you do it. And you just go in the same speed. So it goes about 1 all the way out. Back to the center. 2. And make sure you're sitting nice and tall. 3, 4. And keep the eyes closed now that you've got it while you do it. And then 2, 2, 3, 4. There's also another way to do it. I'll show you here. So you do the first one that way you just did, thumb and forefinger, tracing along sort of the orbital socket. And then you can take the first finger and the second finger and you do the same thing. So the first finger is under the eyebrow, the second finger is under the lower rim of the eye, and then you use that to trace along all the way to the outside. Sometimes it feels really nice to alternate. So I do the thumb and first finger for one, and then I do the two, the index finger and second finger for the second one. So alternating out. And do it at a nice pace. I usually do it at about this speed because you want to get that blood flow going. It's very light pressure. 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, and then 6, 2, 3, 4. So here I'm doing thumb and first finger, and then right to the other two fingers. Thumb and first finger, two fingers, relatively quickly. 3, 4. Nice. 3. There you go. 2, 3, 4. Stimulating blood flow. One more. 2, 3, 4. And relax. Hands to the lap. Blink. Open. Blink. Open. Close the eyes. One slow, deep breath. I got some great blood supply to your eyes. Bring blood supply to your eyes before a doctor needs to cut you open or you need to take a medication to bring blood supply to your eyes. Now we're going to do eye movements. These are great. These will really help with that process of accommodation of near and far vision. And they will also keep lymph fluid stimulated, which is part of your immune system, and keep all of those eye muscles very healthy. So for the movements, don't have to worry about anything that you're looking at. Make sure your posture is nice and long, shoulders are relaxed, top of the head is raised. And we're just going to begin with left and right. So you just look kind of across the horizon, again, not trying to see here, just doing movements, and you just bring the eyes to the left and then just straight across to the right. And then back to the left, and they're just smooth and steady to the right. If you wear glasses, you can try these with glasses on and with glasses off. Just notice the differences for you. To the left, eyes straight across the horizon to the right. To the left, to the right. Center, blink, shut, and one slow, deep breath. As you exhale, let the eyes completely relax, even let the jaw relax, the ears and the back of the head, because all those muscles are connected. Let everything soften and release. And now vertical movements. Open the eyes, centering the eyes, simply looking up without moving the head. Only the eyes look up, only the eyes look down. Up, down, looking up, down, up, down, center, blink, shut, and take a slow, deep breath in and out. Let the eyes again relax. Corners of the eyes, inside of the eyes, center of the eyes. Even behind the eyes can relax, letting that whole visual system take a break. And then the last movements are circular movements. We're going to use the positions of a clock just for reference. You do not have to look at a specific point. It's not about interpreting the vision right now. It's just moving the eyes in this general direction. So eyes are centered. And then without moving the head, draw the eyes up towards the ceiling as if you were looking at position 12. And we'll do counterclockwise, moving to 11, 10, just whatever vision range feels good, to 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back up to 12. Continue doing one more circle counterclockwise to each point. Moving slowly and smoothly. You are organizing your vision. Thereby, you are organizing your brain. When your eyes reach 12, simply center, close, relax, take a deep breath. Exhaling any stress and tension. Last exercise is clockwise movements. So opening the eyes, centering them, drawing them up to 12. And then around to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Continue on at your own pace. Maybe moving a bit farther this time without strain. Backing off if you need to. Whenever your eyes reach 12, center them, close them, relax them completely. Deep breath in. And a long, smooth exhale. And now a magical treat for your eyes. You're going to take your hands and rub them together, particularly the palms, building a lot of heat in the hands. Your body has something like 27,000 nerve endings. A lot of them are in your hands. This is very inherently grounding practice. When you get a nice bit of heat built, you're going to take that heat and apply it directly to the eyes. So you make a little cup with the hand. So the center part of the hand is still open. You take the base of the palm and place that on that cheekbone and then seal out the light and feel the warmth from the hands penetrating the eyes. Take a deep breath in. Exhale and relax the eyes completely. Draw the fingertips gently down the face, and we're going to palm the hands 2 more times. Really building a lot of heat and warmth. The more you press, the more friction, the more warmth, the better. Again, we want to increase blood supply to the eyes. It's part of your cardiovascular system. Improved blood flow is always a great benefit, great to relieve eye strain. This time, when you inhale, feel that you can draw that warmth in through the eyelids, in through the eye, even through the optic nerve, all the way to the brain, sending that message of rest. And then one more time, palming the hands again. If you're returning to work, I would do it this way. Once the eyes are cupped and I was returning to work, I would seal out the light and open my eyes and look up inside the darkness and let that warmth come into the eyes, looking up, again, to stimulate wakefulness. If I wanted to go to sleep, I would look down even with closed eyes and I would let my head lower as well, sending that cue to the brain and body that it's time to rest. So you can adjust this for what you're going to do after. When that heat is dissipated, just draw the hands down the face, keeping the eyes closed, hands return to the lap. Just have a sit for a moment. Maybe a breath. And then gradually open the eyes, take in the room around you. Know that you just did something wonderful for your eyesight. Doing these daily is an absolute game changer. I've been doing them, like I said, many, many decades. And as I've gotten older and I've noticed that my right eye is a lot weaker, I now do these covering my left eye in addition. I do that whole routine, but I cover the left eye and I'm stimulating just the right eye, particularly the part of the visual cortex that's associated with that right eye to really keep it robust. And I've noticed a great reduction in a lot of the tension I was having in my jaw and my head from that eye constantly trying to work harder. I was having these headaches just on the right side. They're gone. So any impressions or thoughts? No No expectation from the good, the bad, the ugly. Give it all.
No, I mean, I could see how it would work. I mean, I felt that certainly it did feel that it was like lubricating my eyes a little bit. So, I think that there's some tangibleness to that. A little bit of strain.
Yes.
It kind of felt like working out a little bit,
Yes.
where it's that strain is kind of a good strain.
Yes.
So I don't know. I don't know what to expect, but I do think that, again, based off of what we've been trying to achieve here with the podcast and being a little bit of a guinea pig myself, I'm happy to give it a go and see what happens. I mean, you keep talking about grounding, and I keep wondering whether I should have my bed sheets on my chair, but that's a whole nother discussion.
These exercises are something that it's like, you do it once and it's like, okay, again, if you do them daily over the course of years, that's where you really get the benefit and where you start to learn for yourself, like, why do I always have eye strain when I'm looking at 3:00? What's going on there? And I'm getting to the point now where, because I am older and my vision is getting more challenged, I notice that my jaw and everything moves when I move my eyes. Whereas when I did these in my 20s, it didn't. And I'm like, oh, my eyes are, all of my muscles are trying to accommodate to help move the eyes. I also notice now that I'm in my 50s, when I did these in my 20s, no problem in the morning, no stiffness. Now in the morning, when I do my eye exercises, my eyes feel legit stiff, like they do, like my other joints do. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is that age-related change of the tissues drying out and getting more stiff. Hooray. But once I do the eye exercises, that dissipates greatly. So it's one of those things that if you practice it long enough, you will discover for yourself.
And your peripheral vision is just so important, especially in what
Yes.
we do. I mean, it's your landings are so much based off of your peripherals and what you're seeing to the side, because that's how you're gauging depth perception from a moving airplane, which is just still kind of wild to me, because whenever I had a student as a flight instructor who could not get the landings, there were two problems. Either they were looking directly at the nose of the airplane.
Oh, yeah.
And so when you're looking too close, it makes depth perception darn near impossible.
Yep.
And therefore their flare would just get all messed up.
Yep.
Or I guess it could be both. If you're not learning to use your peripherals, not looking out at the sides, not watching the trees from the sides, the runway lights, whatever it is that you can see as you're landing.
Yep.
Those are the two things that would always mess up people's landings. So as an instructor, you got to tell them, look at the horizon. But it's kind of a misnomer, because you're looking at multiple things at once. It's like when you're playing an instrument, you're never just hitting one key. You're hitting multiple keys, sometimes at the same time.
Yep.
In this case, you're looking out at the edge of the runway, the horizon, whatever is as far out as you can go, because as you're doing that, it's training your peripherals to see that depth perception that you can't do if you're looking too close on. And that's something for those pilots out there that doesn't go away. I mean, there were a couple times where in my last airplane, man, I went through a string of landings that just were absolute atrocious. And I sat there with my co-pilot and I was like, I don't understand. Like, I can't land this thing to save my life right now. And it occurred to me, I needed to take my own advice. I was doing that. I was looking too close. I was a little bit nervous. I was still new on the airplane. And the more nervous you get, the more you sort of revert back to old bad habits. And and so I started to take my own advice, and all of a sudden things started to settle out again. So it's interesting how how important the usage of those peripherals are, especially back to your example with traffic. I mean, they tell you don't look straight on, use your off-center viewing to try to find the movement.
Yes.
Because that's how you can see it more clearly. That's how you can see it just that little bit better when it's a tiny little speck. And of course, we make our airplanes white to fly in the sky, which makes them super easy to find, as we all know. So it's all connected. And, as you said, vision is just so important, but it's more complicated than you would realize.
Yes. Well, I actually have a couple more vision exercises we can do right now. They don't take as much time as the one I just taught. And the one we're going to do after this next one actually works on peripherals a little bit. But before I teach you the next one though, about that whole landing thing. So way back when I was learning how to land, before I soloed, we went out to a different airport one day just thinking, okay, maybe, a change of scenery will somehow make Gita better. So we go out to this other airport. Man, I had 5 clunkers. I mean, they were brutal. And it was just not, I was getting frustrated. My instructor was getting frustrated. He has the patience of a saint. However, I pulled off the runway after the last one. And it was, I think, probably only one of 2 times where he actually got like a little with me. He was just like, stop doing that. And he told me whatever I was doing. I forget what it was now. Great student there. And I just looked at him. I said, whatever he had said to me, I just looked at him and in frustration, I just said, I'm not seeing what you're seeing. I don't get it. And we just kind of froze in the cockpit. We were both sitting there like, what is and he went, hang on. He's like, you have cheaters on when you're landing and they're at the edge of your nose. He's like, because I needed those for my iPad, right? To see the little tiny little traffic alerts on the iPad. He's like, take them off when we land the next time. You can fly the pattern with them because I need them to see the iPad. He's like, but when we're on final, take them off. 0 problems. Landed, 0 problems. He's like, those cheaters are magnifying the earth and you think it's closer than it is. I was flaring way too high because to me, I was seeing that the ground was where my cheaters were telling me it was 10 to 15 feet higher. And that's why he was like, you're doing it wrong. I'm like, I'm not seeing, you're telling me I'm flaring too high, but I'm not. This is back to my point about perception earlier, that our thinking cortex, our visual cortex gets in there. Sometimes we have to be detectives to see if what we're seeing is actually the truth. I can train my vision even more when I'm not flying, and that's going to make all of this better. So I upped my vision training then at that point in my training, and it's made me feel more confident, especially again, being 52 and noticing the changes to my eyesight. Working on some of the things I'm going to teach you guys right now, which is a near far accommodation practice, has really helped me not only, I think, maintain the vision I have, but also make the best use of it that I have so that I don't sort of feel like, oh, it's not as good as it used to be. Woe is me. It's like, this is as crystal clear as I can make it because I'm investing in the time in it. And I have confidence because I kind of cross train my vision. Then I have confidence when I'm in the cockpit that I know I'm going to be able to see what I need to see instead of kind of having a little bit of that, like, oh, my eyes are aging. Maybe I'm missing something. Woe is me victim status, which I don't advocate for that. So let's do one on a near vision acuity one. I'm going to teach you I'm going to teach you the one I learned, how my teachers taught me, which is a very just use your thumb, keep it simple, stupid kind of thing, because that's how my yoga teachers are. I'll give you the examples that you can do later using it with objects and then using it with like electronic flight bag. So this is just a near vision acuity, which just means seeing more better. It's a process of called accommodation, which is something your eyes do to help you move from near and far vision more quickly. We're going to do one right now with let's consider it kind of like maybe cockpit range. So something that you would bring a little bit closer to read it. And then maybe something like an intermediate step away. So think of something, every cockpit is different, that's a little farther away. For me, reading might be like, let's say I was bringing it really close. Elbows length away, arms length away might be like the yoke. And then a little farther away would be like the instrumentation kind of idea. So we're going to do that using your thumb, though, as kind of like your gauge. And I'm going to give you 3 different ways to practice this so that you're working not only the musculature for accommodation, but you're also working your perceptive abilities. So I'm going to have to angle a little to the side. Otherwise, I'm going to run into the microphone. But the same things apply. These are ones that I do a couple of times a week. The first one I taught you, I do every single day. But these other ones, 3 to 4 times a week is great. I'm going to take my glasses off for this one because I'm really trying to work that accommodation. So get yourself well established. You can do these standing as well. Sitting laying down is fine too if you'd prefer. All of it works. I'll teach it sitting though. So you want to make sure your feet are really, I'm going to turn back this way. Hang on. I want to make sure the sound in the video is good. So make sure your feet are well established on the floor. Just feel your feet a little bit there. You can pick up the heels, set them down, pick up the toes, set them down. You want to set up your physical system like really stable because that is the system that your eyes are connected to, and it will help your sight if the rest of your physical system is stable. So get your feet well established. Have the hips relaxed, evenly balanced on the chair. The spine is long and free all the way up to where it attaches between the ears. Shoulders are relaxed. The tongue and the jaw are relaxed because these connect to the eyes, and the top of the head is relaxed. And then really simple, you're just going to bring your thumb up in front of your face. I'm going to hold mine to the side so I can see, and bring it about elbow's length away. So your arm is not straight. My elbow is very, very bent. And bring it to about eye level. And you're just going to gaze at your thumb and just notice, is it easy to see? Is it blurry? Is it not? And practice your concentration, remembering that your eyes are part of your brain, actually are your brain. And let your eyes and your gaze be fixed on this one spot. However, you're not omitting your peripheral vision here. So you're aware of a tiny detail. Maybe pick a spot on your thumb that you're looking at that's very specific. And while you're focused on that, though, you still have a gentle awareness of the objects to your left and your right. And just hold a neutral gaze here. Eyes are neither focused intensely, nor are they very relaxed, just a neutral, middle of the road gaze. And then move the thumb, keeping the eyes fixed on that spot, to about arm's length away. So now your elbow is stretched out and you're gazing at the thumb. Still on that spot, neutral awareness, aware of the objects on the left and the right, but gazing. Keep the thumb there, but now you're just shifting your eyes to an object a bit farther away, like another foot to 2 feet away. You pick whatever works. Spot on the wall, computer monitor. Could be higher or lower, and just let the eyes find a specific point there to gaze at. Aware of the left and right objects while maintaining that neutral gaze. Then bring it back to the extended thumb. And then slowly draw the thumb in, elbow bent to where you can see clearly. Slowly close the eyes. If you like, you can relax the hand. We're going to do this 2 more times with different mental focus, but give the eyes a break, taking a slow breath in and a slow breath out. Now gently open the eyes, repeating the same sequence. So your elbow is bent, thumb is at about eye level, and you're finding a specific spot on your thumb. And now this time, really concentrate on focusing. Think of yourself as having an eagle eye, where you can pick a fish out underwater and dive and catch it. You're so focused on that one spot, you're making it crystal clear. Even if your vision is blurry up close, does not matter. Really focus that lens. Think that you're gathering that lens in and it's focused on that spot. Eagle eye. Keep that eagle eye focus. That detail is so bright and clear as you gradually bring the thumb away from the eyes to arm's length. Still with that eagle eye focused. If someone came and looked at you right now, they could tell that you're focusing on a specific spot. You could make out the tiniest letter. With that same laser-like focus, bring the eyes to that spot about a foot to 2 feet ahead of the thumb. Let your eyes be focused on that spot. Bring it back to the thumb, and then draw the thumb in, eagle eye focus. Slowly close the eyes. You can release the hand, just relax for a moment. And then last one, we're going to practice this accommodation, but with a very relaxed eye. So same thing, just bring the thumb at about eye level, elbow is bent. And this time your eyes and your gaze is very soft. You're not looking at any specific point. You're taking in everything around you, including the peripheral vision. And this time you're feeling as though instead of your gaze going outward, you're allowing the image to come to you. Your brain is passive, receptive, allowing the image to come to you. Slowly moving the thumb to arm's length, just allowing the sight and the vision to come to you. No effort to see, just allowing it to naturally come in. Gaze moves beyond the thumb to a point about 2 feet ahead, allowing that image to naturally come with no effort. Looking back at the thumb and slowly drawing the thumb back to the face, allowing the vision to come to you with no effort. Slowly close the eyes, relax the hand, and take a breath. So that's a practice of accommodation where you're asking the lens to focus near and far and move between those, but also adding that mental component of either just a neutral gaze, a very focused gaze, or that much more receptive gaze, which is something we use in music to train to be in the zone. Or like Michael Jordan, the great basketball player, would say, like he felt like the basket would just open up and the ball would just come to him and he could just release it. You're training your brain to just be more receptive and open instead of always trying to force. So it's a little bit of both a mental training and then also the vision training. Questions, comments, concerns on that near vision acuity?
No, that was good.
Interesting, huh? It's fun to
Yeah.
do outside. I really recommend doing it outside. To your point of using the trees when you're landing, I've been doing this a lot. Like when I was finally getting my landings down, I would be like in a big wide open space and I'd be like, okay, that kind of sidewalk right there, I'm going to pretend it's my runway. And my thumb would be, to your point, like the nose of the plane. And I would just walk and I'd say, I'm going to focus my eyes, 20 feet ahead of the nose. I'm going to pretend that's my landing spot. And I'm going to have a soft, relaxed gaze while I look at that landing spot. And I'm going to notice the cues on my peripheral vision, but I'm still staying focused on that spot. So I practiced walking the pattern, but using the eye focus while I was doing it. So all ways you can train. You don't need to pay for simulator time or burn avgas. Okay, so we have one more that's like an exercise, and we got our wind down and rest one. So this one I've been using a lot for depth perception, and particularly I think has helped me with spotting traffic. So depth perception is another thing that as we age can go. I started to notice a few years ago that every now and then I would startle at something and I'd be like, oh my gosh, that branch. And then I'd be like, holy crap, that branch is in the garden and I'm inside my house right now. But like the reflection through the window, my brain would perceive it as a lot closer. And I was like, I'm losing some of my depth perception with age. This is not happening. I have the tools to fix this. So I started going outside in the woods and practicing this, and it has been tremendous. I have not had any future instances of misjudging my depth perception. So I highly recommend if you can do this outside, it's going to be really great for your brain. And it also allows you to see a lot farther than you can inside. We'll practice it here inside and do the best we can with it. But if you can go into some place where you can see as far as you can see, and you can pick about, I think we use 5 spots today. So you need a spot that's close, and then all the way to number 5 being the farthest away that it could possibly be. This will really help with that depth perception, both takeoffs and landings, and also just in daily life. So I've been using trees outside in the woods to do this. It also helps with spotting traffic then, because you pick specific trees and you have to focus on which tree you picked on the last time and keep picking those. We have a lot of trees here in New England, so I have to keep picking which tree I used. It helps to get rid of that visual clutter. So John, I don't know if you have a window that you can see out of, if you can turn your chair, or you may not really be able to kind of do this one. We'll just talk through it and maybe just do the best you can, and maybe try it another time when you really have to be somewhere where you can kind of see far. You can't really train depth perception if you're in a small bedroom. Like, it's not going to work. But if not, you just do it to the best of your ability here, and then you'll have the sequence and you can do it outside later. Okay, so same things. I usually do this one sitting. I do it a lot standing, and sometimes I do it while I'm moving too. If you practice these things while you're moving, it also helps with your depth perception because, as we talked about at the beginning, your brain uses that motion and that interpretation of the motion of objects being close or far away to help tell you where you are in space. So if you want to improve that, you can even do this exercise while you're walking. It's phenomenal. I sometimes do it as well when my husband is driving the car, and I do it while he's driving. If you're driving, did we not say that? Don't do these. Should have said that at the beginning. Please pull your car over before you begin rolling your eyes in your head all around. Okay. So depth perception. You're just going to get yourself well established. Sitting, standing, doesn't matter. Same rules apply. Get your feet well established. Feet are evenly balanced. Hips are sort of relaxed and evenly balanced. The spine is always long and free. That neck is long and free. Relax the jaw. Relax all the muscles around the eyes before you begin. Relax even the ears, the sides of the head, the back of the head, and the top of the head. Release. All of this will help your muscles to be more responsive. So first, we're going to start with that same eagle eye perspective. You're going to pick 5 points. So just pick them right now. You want a point that's close. Number 2 is a little farther. 3 is a little farther. 4 is farther. And 5 will be your farthest away spot that you can see. But each one of these points needs to be a specific spot that you can find each time. So first start and find your initial fix and let your gaze be focused and determined. Again, think that eagle eye. Try to make out every detail you can for spot number 1. Then look at spot number 2. Focus that eagle eye. Try to pick out the detail for spot number 2 that's farther away. Then spot number 3, even farther. 4, move your eyes farther away, still with that eagle eye focus, really picking out the smallest detail of what you're seeing. And then spot number 5, the farthest you can see, picking out a detail. Again, eagle eye focused. You're really zoned in on one specific thing. And then come back to position 4, to 3, position 2, and position 1. Close the eyes, let them relax. One slow, deep breath in. And on the exhale, drop any tension from the eyes. And now we'll add some peripheral vision stuff to the same thing. You're just going to use your own hands for some distractors on the side. So simply open your eyes, find your position 1, only this time let your gaze be that really soft, diffuse, like you're letting the object come to you. No effort on your part. Eyes are open, receptive. The object is simply coming to you. And while that's happening, practice with your eyes on that spot. Bring your left hand up and just kind of wave it in your peripheral. And just see, where can you see it? Where does it disappear? You can do both hands. You can do just one. You can move them higher and lower. Eyes are still looking with soft focus on position 1 and just stimulating that visual cortex by moving in that peripheral vision. Release the hands and then let the eye move to position number 2. Soft gaze, let that vision come to you. The eye is receptive, doing all of the work. You're both focused on the spot you're looking at and open to the peripherals, and do the same thing for the peripherals. Just some kind of movement to the side. Sometimes I even take like a piece of paper or a tissue and I wave it and I see, where can I see it? Where do I lose it? Where you lose your peripherals here, spend a moment hanging out there. Work that edge a little bit. See where you can see it, then draw it back to where it disappears. And go back and forth on that line and stimulate those neurons to begin to fire and process that information. Release the hands, close the eyes for just a moment. Move to position 3. Now the eyes are softly focused. The gaze of 3 is just coming to you. And same thing, check the peripherals. Soft gaze to position 4. Keep that peripheral exercise going if you like it. If not, just let the gaze be soft on position 4. Test that edge of your peripherals if you're there. Stimulate the brain and the visual cortex through that movement to pick up those cues. And then the gaze all the way to that farthest position, number 5. Let all the vision just come to you. You're just open, receptive, seeing both your particular spots and the peripheral vision up, down. You can try high, low, working that edge to where you lose the peripheral vision. Then drop the peripheral vision exercise slowly. Just let the eyes come back to position 4, position 3, 2, 1. Close the eyes. Let them relax. Deep breath. Then open the eyes. And that's visual acuity, depth perception, spotting traffic, working your peripherals. It's fantastic to do. Again, as I said, if you can do it while you're walking, even just a couple minutes of it, you're walking from your car, or like I'm thinking after simulator training, from you leave the building and you're going to your car, just as you're walking, be like, I'm looking at the farthest spot. Now I'm looking a little closer, 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 and let your eyes move through those different ranges of motion. It all adds up. You don't have to make it like a big production. Now I'm doing eye exercises. Sprinkle it in throughout your day. It can have a tremendous benefit to your whole visual system. Did you find any blind spots?
I did. My peripherals on my right are not as good as mine on the left.
And it was the right eye.
Best I can tell.
Is the right eye the one that's more challenged?
No, funny enough, my right eye is the better one.
Isn't that interesting?
So,
I'd be interested to see if, as you develop this, because when I first did, I was like, oh my gosh, my peripherals stink compared to when I did this when I was younger. So I've really been working it, and it's gotten a little bit better. And we think about things, so oftentimes the people I teach, they're kind of like, why are we training this? I thought I was in a yoga class. I'm like, hey, when you cross the street, would you like to pick up that car that just blew the red light before it hits you? They're like, yeah, I would. I'm like, so do these exercises with me, because so much of our brain relies on these cues. And if we don't train it, we can lose it. Okay, shall we do one that's a wind down and rest one to conclude the whole thing?
All right, let's do it.
So this is one that I personally love to do at the end of a day, or I most often use it when I only have like 10 or 15 minutes. Like if I'm teaching a ton and I've just been like looking at music all day long and I'm like, oh my gosh, no more. Just I'm like overwhelmed, and like, but I have to teach 5 more kids or something. I'll go into a quiet place. I'll do this and just let my visual system recharge. And that in turn turns on the parasympathetic nervous system, which sends a cue to rest and get that little break. I'm thinking of my pilots who need that crew rest, who have a short bit of time. I'm thinking of ATC folks who are staring at a scope all day long. Their posture is probably tense and forward, and everything is hunched as they're looking forward. They need a little break before they go home to be with the family after a long day of providing air traffic control for us. I'm thinking of flight instructors who do so much to keep us safe in the pattern, who need a little visual break. So this is a true treat. So we're going to do a little bit for the head, neck, and shoulders too, because it's all related. So you can do this again, standing, sitting, laying down. It works too. You may have a little limited movement with some of the stuff in the beginning, but just get yourself comfy. I'll demonstrate it sitting. So get your feet well rooted. So feet are about knees width apart or so, definitely ankles uncrossed. Hips are released into the chair beneath you. Spine is long and free. Just trace from the low back all the way up to where the spine attaches between the ears. Let it all relax. The shoulders can release a little bit, the arms, the hands, the fingers. Oh, the jaw and the head, facial muscles, even the tongue can release. Ears, sides of the head, back of the head, top of the head. And slowly, we're just going to do a little movement here for the head, neck, and shoulders. Bring your awareness to that spot where your spine attaches to your head. Think of your spine as this sort of long line, and your head sits on top of it, almost like a bobblehead. And in between the ears is actually where the head sits on top of that spine. Just bring your awareness to that center spot. And just slowly begin turning the head left and to the right, feeling like it can move freely on this spot, just like a free pivot. The muscle tension is not even a factor now. It's so released that it's just gliding as it was designed to do on this spot. And as you move left to right, you can also move the eyes left and right. As you get all the way to the left, bring the eyes all the way to the left and pause for a moment. Then slowly rotate your head to the right. And once your head is all the way to the right, move your eyes all the way to the right. So you're getting a stretch to all the eye muscles and the head. If you didn't like that, just keep doing the left and the right. Adjust, adapt, and accommodate to what feels good. Notice where the muscles are tugging and pulling you off of being able to let your head rotate the way it was designed. And then the same thing with some head nods. So just down, chin to chest, and then up, noticing that the head pivots on this same little pivot. Notice that the muscles get involved and want to pull you forward or backward, and you're just trying to reestablish a neutral position for the whole skeletal system here. That will improve blood flow. That will reduce muscular tension. That will return homeostasis to the whole physical system, and then subjectively we feel more at ease. And same thing with the eyes here. When your head is down, the eyes can look way, way down. When your head is at the up position, hold for a moment and bring the eyes all the way up. If you want to induce more rest, hold with the chin down to the chest and the eyes looking down for longer. If you want more alertness, hold the chin in that upward position and hold the gaze upward longer, as long as feels good to you. And then come back to center and just a little side to side, left ear to left shoulder. You can do a little, you can do a lot, doesn't matter. Moving at whatever pace feels good. Just unwinding that tension from all those reciprocal muscles that surround the head, that are all attached to the muscles of the eyes. And they can get very taxed. Very often, issues with the jaw are related to eye strain, and vice versa. And then we're going to do that lovely massage again to the eyes with a little variation. So just one time here, you're going to palm the hands, bring a lot of heat and warmth. This is also nice to do if you put your hands in warm water, or if you have one of those heating packs where you can put them in the microwave. They have those sort of warming seeds in them, and you can put that over the eyes. Very soothing to the eyes. Here we'll use our hands. Once they're nice and warm, place them over the eyes. The eyes are closed now, and the head will lower down. And even the eyes can lower down. Seal out the light. Full deep breath in and out, letting the eyes relax. The inner corners of the eyes release. The center of the eyes release. The outer corners. The backs of the eyes. And then a little massage here, keeping the hands right where they are in the face. Just do slow circles, moving the muscles and the skin around the eye. This helps to unstick the fascia, which is a connective tissue. It's kind of like saran wrap. And when it's healthy, it's smooth and can move freely. This can restore that functioning after your eyes have done a lot of work. And then circle the other way. So hands are still covering the eyes, circling, massaging any stress and tension away. And then gently hold the hands there. Head is down. Eyes are covered. Letting everything soften and rest. Eyes are still closed, hands slowly released to the lap. Head returns to neutral with eyes closed. And just for a moment in time, with your mind's eye, bring into your thoughts any beautiful vista that you love. The beach, the oceans, a cityscape that you can see far out. And using the imagination and the power of your visual cortex, bring that image to your mind and look far into the distance just with your mind's eye. See it with great clarity, bringing in that image of the outside world, seeing as far as the eye can see. One slow, deep breath in, and a slow exhale. And as you exhale, that image gradually dissolves. You become aware of the light filtering through your eyelids, the room around you. And when you're ready, gradually bring yourself back to the space. And there you have it.
There you have it.
So, all things eye health, visual system, visual cortex, peripheral vision, near far accommodation, all the things. I can say as a student pilot, these have all helped me tremendously to feel more confident and to know how to use my eyes more effectively in the cockpit. So, my peanut gallery, comments, concerns, questions.
I think it's just important to note that, like, for many, myself included, these are all a little different. These are all things that you probably woke up yesterday and went, yeah, no. But as so often we talk about when we're doing things on this podcast, it's a matter of finding that edge. It's a matter of improving what you already had, because even if, sitting in your room by yourself, probably you feel a little bit silly and maybe slightly self-conscious, why not? If it means a couple extra years flying, if it means that you spot that traffic in the distance that you otherwise wouldn't have, what do you have to lose? It's just that extra edge you can do to make yourself better. And if you find out that it works for you, fantastic. If you don't see anything, that's okay too. But what do you have to lose?
I absolutely agree. And I've been really encouraged to see people like Dr. Andrew Huberman, who are really all about peak performance, and have him say he's had tremendous vision issues similar to yours, although he lost vision in one eye as a kid. And he has worked his whole life to get that vision back. Nothing is as precious as your vision until it starts to go. So his whole point was that he does these exercises and he's like, yeah, it may be a little weird or a little silly, but I have ample vision to do my work now that I want to do. And I think that's what we all want. Vision is truly something, use it or lose it, and you take it for granted when you're younger. And then when the changes come, it can be very disheartening and can really mess with your confidence. So if you start doing these early, then you're catching that early. It's just like exercise and eating your vegetables and drinking your water. It's common sense practice. And these are things I feel really grateful to share with the community because they've been tremendously beneficial to me. And I will share all the resources in the show notes of all of the doctors who also say, do these exercises. It's not just a crazy yoga lady. There's a ton of doctors out there who are like, you can find ample resources and many different eye exercises as well to meet any need that you have. They're very flexible and you can really accommodate any sort of thing you're looking to get an edge with. There will be an eye exercise out there that is literally training for your brain.
Yeah. Training for your brain. And, as good as you think you are, and you probably are, you can always be better.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely. I would really love to hear from people experiences with this, questions, comments, concerns. Usually I teach this to a group of people, so it's a little different teaching it on video. I'd love to hear how they go for you. If you have questions, if anything wasn't clear, let me know. You can drop us an email at calmcockpit@gmail.com. And if you want to help out the podcast at all, we would so really appreciate that. Please drop us a review. 5 stars is always welcome. If you have a moment to type in even a few words, like the podcast, hooray, and an exclamation point. That goes a long way too, because that will really help other people to find this. We are a community of aviators. As much as John and I love hanging out in this room together, we want to connect with even more people. So we'd love it if you help us get the word out about the podcast, because we really think this information can be useful to people and are looking forward to those conversations back and forth. So support us by dropping us some stars, subscribing, maybe typing a few words in. And where else can they find us, John?
Well, you can find us on all the social media platforms. Facebook. Actually, I added LinkedIn recently, so it's on there as well.
Oh, apparently we're on LinkedIn.
Instagram. Yeah. So we're a little bit of everywhere, and certainly share it with your friends, share it with your pilot cohorts. Every little bit helps, like Ita said. And of course, the different practices, I think we're going to break out into their own little bonus pods. So
Cool.
Look for those in the days to come after this episode drops. And obviously, we appreciate the effort that you put into sharing this with us, myself included.
My pleasure.
Fly smarter.
And stress less.
Airbus Pair 1 departure is Airbus 321. Traffic holding crossing runway 33 left 3 lane.